Good afternoon, all. Thank you for joining us. My name is Patrycja Maksymowicz, and I'm the founder of Open Solutions Global. Welcome to navigating your journey to the British markets. For the last few years, Open Solutions Global's team has built a portfolio of projects and a team with deep experience in the UK, EU, and as well as US market, working both with global and regional companies in manufacturing, in tech, retail, fintech, medtech, to name a few. Due to increasing demand of inquiries, as well as a huge interest in the UK, we decided to launch the webinar to share some of the insights and to provide the opportunity for questions and for you to share the experience with other participants and with us. We'll have a Q&A after the talk, and if you have any questions during the talk, you can submit them through the chat. In case we run out of time today, we'll send you an email reply within 48 hours, and we'll take it from there. We'll focus on certain key aspects today. Mainly the fundamentals of how to approach market entry in the most successful way. So how to assess market access, its risk, opportunities, and the evidence that's needed for the products or services in the UK. Improving your early planning and alignment and local implementation, strategic decision-making, changing environments, reviewing the potential consequences of a good or a bad market entry. Of course, we're limited by time, so I will only be able to mention some of the aspects and indicate the key areas that are worth mentioning. I will welcome additional questions or a one-to-one follow-up with myself or one of the teams to discuss your individual position later. So I'd like to formally introduce Open Solutions Global. We are an independent consulting firm focused on generating growth and helping companies with strategic market access and market development. Our partnerships are often in rapidly evolving and highly complex sectors where we can help clients cut through the complexity and set steps up for the market access success. We aim at creating sustainable growth for companies, and always seek to see the potential even if it's not so apparent from the very beginning. Our core values are often very aligned closely with our clients' missions and visions. So this slide highlights the Open Solutions Global main but not exclusive areas of support, such as analysis and understanding, strategic planning, delivery and execution that we support our clients with. And we work from startups to scale-up stage, as well as with the international companies and the well-established brands. We started in the UK in 2013 and now have a footprint in the UK, US, Eastern and Central Europe, and have run a couple of smaller projects for companies in Asia. So as mentioned, we've got a very deep UK experience built across several sectors, and our team have a good understanding of the global as well as the local perspective and works across several different client groups. We've worked with startups, scale-ups, as well as blue-chip clients in the public sector, and we have a sweet spot for technology to enable growth and improve. Our projects are supported by high-level executives and experts with the relevant business and industry backgrounds. Always make sure that goals and values are aligned with the clients, as it's the only way to achieve success. Over the years, we've also developed a network of supporting partners and strategic connections and organizations that help our clients to establish a good presence here in the UK. Our understanding of market access requirements is achieved through a number of projects we undertake, and some of the activities such as landscape assessment and market access status, global or market assessment to determine the likely market access outcomes for the new solutions or services, research and product market readiness assessment to support product in development, challenges for the new market entrants, opportunities to optimize market access, support product in development, the challenge. All our projects start with a deep understanding of the client, their solution, and we always seek to ensure that there is market fit for the solution. There are many reasons that businesses look to international expansion. It can be, they might be seeking greater profits. They might want to lower the costs or the acquired new skills or technologies before undertaking the expansion strategy. Gaining an understanding of that company's readiness to expand is really crucial, and that's where we start with. So what are the motivations? Are the process to cope with the expansion in place? What is the end goal? Once all these questions and many more are answered at that initial stage, research is needed to create a comprehensive market strategy. We always ask clients, what value do they seek in the market for their business? What is the potential gain? What's their ambition? Have they tried to launch before? What are the challenges they faced, or what are the challenges they think they might expect? The first and most important step to successfully launch product or service growth. Many companies fail just because it's a very long and tiresome journey. And obvious research on the market, like size growth, competitor analysis, and new product developments, it's important not to underestimate demographics, business environment, economic and consumer-related factors that can impact market potential. That systematic and logical approach to analysis and characteristic which inform market selection is a good starting point. So this is presented in this slide. Choosing the right market boils down to issues over control, resources, the appetite, risk, and familiarity with the market. Other factors to consider are legal restrictions, the availability of distributors, partners. All this will determine the model you choose. So there are 5 key market entry methods that we can identify here, and they all have their pros and cons. So exports include direct selling to end consumers, and you would be looking for an agent or a distributor. We could say e-commerce is a form of direct exporting. Disadvantages to that approach include trade barriers and tariffs, transport costs, to name a few. On the whole, exporting offers at least risk, but it's also least financially rewarding as you share part of what you're making. Licensing, this is formally done by granting a second party the right to use company's name and manufacture or sell its product. Joint venture, creating a third company with another partner. Joint venture means that the company can take advantage of the partner's infrastructure, local knowledge and reputation, which is very often a huge point. It allows for closer control of business compared to licensing and can help the rapid expansion. The challenge is to ensure that both companies' strategic goals are really aligned. And then you can look at mergers and acquisition, which offer more control of the market and they provide instant access to the largest company network with no fear of conflict of interest. It can be a speedy road to market, but also can be costly. Now, a lot of our clients look at greenfield investment, which is setting up a local subsidiary, and that approach gives the company control over their sales. It's basically a complete control. It requires a significant amount of investment in both time and money. Can be risky, so you have to bear that in mind. It's a kind of a long-term game with challenges such as recruitment, attending meetings, understanding the nuances of the market, and gaining the local knowledge. So this method secures a good control of the brand and can offer high potential returns. And like I said, it's probably the most popular way our clients choose, often relying on the support of external consultants and representatives to support them. There are quite a lot of challenges when approaching the UK market, and the more you know, the bigger the chance for your success. Market entry requires a thorough analysis of the market, and that's very often something that companies that approach us seem to forget. So you need that thorough analysis, you need the goals of the company clearly defined, and also know your attitude to risk, because it's risky. And the strategy has to be clear and really well thought. And partners that you choose to work with really need to be carefully and wisely chosen. So once in the market, you will be constantly reviewing realities on the ground change quickly, and for international business to stay ahead of the local and global competition on that market, this is not. So this slide highlights some of the internal and external considerations that companies need to be aware of. And for a successful market entry strategy, there is a whole range of questions to be answered around the product, marketing, the location, and timing. So they might include questions like, does the product need to be localized? In other words, must it be changed to meet the local conditions and tastes? Are entirely new products needed? How much awareness is there of the product or brand in the local market? Do consumers need to be educated on how to use it? Where will the gateway into the country be? Is it a major city, or maybe a better point would be to start somewhere in a smaller place? So should there be a test phase in a few locations maybe? And then questions like, are you the first one with the solution? So, having that first mover advantage allows the company to set rules of the market and build brand loyalty. But it comes with a cost, and it's also quite risky, I would say. It's a very high risk. So if you wait, it sometimes allows the company to imitate and improve on the previous mistakes of someone who's done that previously. So you get that better understanding of the market, and you can find your niche. I will now like to show a couple of mistakes or maybe challenges that companies that approach us have been facing. Perhaps the biggest one finds in biotechnology, looking to expand in the UK, US, and EU markets. We were looking at size of market, trends, needs, and perceptions, domestic and international competition. And in order to develop that strategy, I think the challenge for the client was to break through with a solution that was much needed, but not necessarily welcomed by big pharma companies. An example of a company that's really wanted to expand the market within the UK. That was a UK company. And when they approached us, they said that, well, they want to accelerate, they want to scale, and they needed help with that strategy, long-term strategy, and reviewing what they're doing to really build very good foundations for scaling. Now, the very first thing when they approached us was they claimed that there was nothing wrong with their sales. Sales approach was right. Then upon reviewing, we realized that they're actually relying on customer referrals, that they're not doing an outbound sales, that the quotations were not right. So we really deep dived into the sales process, and by helping with that, we were able to generate or able to help them increase the conversion ratio, and explore the new client opportunities. So that actually helped the company to build a stronger foundation, and then we could work on the long-term plan. So this is a project on bespoke software provider. The company was present in over 20 countries, trying to develop their sales in the UK for a couple of years, and so really being challenged with that. And that was one of the main reasons why they approached us. So the main challenge was close to zero sales, inability to generate new leads, and to close the high ticket sales, or even to reach for those high ticket sales, while in other countries an average for them. Also a number of drop-offs. So once they closed the deal, then nothing happened. So They had a UK-based team and they had some SEO activity from outside of UK. So our first task was to really deeply and carefully deep dive into the sales cycle to see where the bottlenecks, what patterns, if there are any patterns there. And we actually spotted some patterns where leads were getting called all at the same stage. So quite surprised to see how long they took to respond to inquiries. Reviewing NDA sometimes took several days. There was an example of an inbound client who gave access to the software that requires integration to meet the industry requirements for accounting. And in order to move forward, that NDA signed was needed. But on the side of the client, in headquarters outside the UK, they took days to negotiate the single points of NDA were in there that really needed negotiating. In the end, the client went cold and chose another provider. Analysis, like from calls to previous clients that they provided in spreadsheets, have shown their lack of qualifying, lack of evaluation or correct evaluation. So there are a lot of examples of lost inbound sales. So because of that SEO activity, they were generating quite a lot of inbound sales, but very often their estimation was not correct, the evaluation and the qualifying stage was almost non-existent. So our team was very quick in spotting those things and indicating what actions to take, what approach needs to change in order to keep closing those bigger deals, but also in order to identify bigger deals. You're really ready. That's a very good question, and very often we have inquiries from clients that we think are not ready, or we think that they still need to review quite a lot, or also clients that come to us with a certain assumption of how they're going to do that, and we ask them to actually, we stop them there and we try to show that there might be a different approach. Sometimes those methods need to be really thought over once again, and how you get your product or services to the market may be different from how you get them to the market in your domestic country. Do you sell directly or do you sell to the end user? Do you work with intermediaries, wholesalers, distributors? So even if you sell directly to your target clientele, do you require assistance of someone like an in-country sales agent that will open that door for you and facilitate those sales? Considering things like combining a number of options sometimes. So using services of an in-country distributor and agent and acquiring an existing local business might be an option. Partnering with local business that can take various forms: franchising, licensing, joint venture, co-production or cross-manufacturing. Opening a physical presence that can be anything from buying or renting an office or hiring a local representative again, selling through online marketplaces, offering direct sales through e-commerce sites, selling directly to or selling indirectly to a target market for another company that exports your products or uses them as components. So that the number of ways to approach, and they may be different, or they might need to be different from what you're doing in your domestic market. Market expansion is a journey and it's an adventure. And once you get to the peak, it looks amazing from above, and you can see how much you've achieved and how difficult or how easy the journey was. It may be easier. It's usually quite challenging, but it may be easier if you're really well prepared, if you've done your research, if you've have your tools, you have your resources. Very often, we're approached by companies saying, like, well, we don't want to spend too much or to invest too much. We just want to sell. So they see that new market as an opportunity to generate sales. And I always stop them there and say, that's not how it works. You have to invest. It's an market investment. And it always takes time to get where you want to be. So also, like I said, it's not day one that the sales are generated. It's building trust, it's building the network connections, and the brand awareness, recognition, whatever method you choose. There may be some shortcuts, but that's not always, a one-day quick journey. I think it's important to look at how much you're ready to invest versus what you want to gain. So, always like with small efforts, there's no big gain. To thank everyone for listening, and we'll now open the floor for the questions. Thank you.